everyone, my name is Lydia Cusick, and I did the preceptorship program with Kaiser this summer. I'm going to talk about how it helped me find my career path, and how a program like this can help you find your career path. To start off, when we were younger, we were all asked, what do we want to do when we get older? Or what do we want to do when we grow up? Raise your hand if you've heard these questions or similar questions. Exactly. We've all heard them, and they've been in the back of our minds ever since. As we get older and learn new things, we slowly get to narrow down all of these different career path options as we discover what we like and what we don't like. This is all in an effort to answer that question. What do we want to do with our life? For me, coming from a family with a nurse as a mom, I decided from a young age that that was what I was going to do. After taking different classes in school and figuring out what is interesting to me, I figured out that the medical field was probably a good place for me to be, but I still wasn't sure. I always hoped that someday I'd be exposed to a hospital or clinical setting where I could talk to nurses, see what they do, and get a feel for the environment so that I could take a step back and say, is this really what I want to do? And the preceptorship program was perfect for that. I'm going to give a couple of examples. I had an interesting time in radiology, and specifically MRI, because I saw something that really affected me. I saw a woman go into the MRI machine, and the tech told me that she had glioblastoma, a very aggressive form of brain cancer. She already had surgery to remove it, and when I looked at her MRI scan, I could see the void in her brain where the tumor once was. It made me sad to see this, and a few seconds later, another tumor lit up in the middle of her brain. Cancer again. It made me sad to think about the reaction of the patient when the doctor told her she had cancer again, and the reaction of her family. I thought about how many people would be affected by this, and how badly I wished I could help her. I've always wanted to help people, which is why nursing has always been so appealing to me. So this was just one of those defining moments in this program where I said, yes, I am on the right path. I also want to share one of my surgery rotation day experiences. Now, I've always wanted to go into surgery. I've always wanted to see a surgery and wear scrubs, so I kind of got the best of both worlds. I also always wanted to kind of get a feel for the environment. Would I be scared? Would the blood kind of gross me out? So I wasn't really sure. I had heard about fainting, but I kind of brushed that off to the side. I thought, no, I'm probably going to be fine. Nothing's going to happen. I've never fainted before. It's going to be fine. But you can imagine what happened. I actually fainted. Now, I didn't really know what was happening. Everything was fine, and then it all went black, and I was waking up on the floor of the OR. At the beginning of that day, I was watching an inguinal hernia surgery. I felt like a true medical student, because the nurse anesthetist brought me back behind the patient and let me watch from a really good angle on a stool so that I could see everything up close. The surgeon narrated the entire thing for me and explained what he was doing and why every step of the way. So I got a lot out of that program. So he narrated everything, and I really got a lot out of that experience. Now back to the fainting part. It was kind of funny because towards the end of the surgery, the nurse anesthetist looks over at me and he goes, "Don't faint." But that's exactly what I did. And I later found out that the reason I had fainted was because I was standing for so long on that stool without moving my legs, so I wasn't getting good circulation to my legs. The fainting ended up being pretty fun because I've never fainted before, and it was a pretty positive experience. I also learned that the OR is a cool environment that I could definitely see myself working in. Here's actually a picture of me in my scrubs before going into to see that surgery where I fainted. And unfortunately, I couldn't get a picture of me laying on the floor, which would have been more interesting, but this is still a fun experience to remember. Now, at the end of this program, getting to go to all the different locations and places was really helpful for me because I was able to find out what I like and what I don't like within the medical field. I was also able to talk to nurses and doctors, see what they do, and get a feel for the environment, and I figured out that I actually liked the hospital and clinical setting, and those were all things I really hoped to get out of this program. I also figured out a lot about things like physical therapy, which I hadn't learned about before as much, and I hadn't really considered it. I also learned about some things that I hadn't heard about, like nuclear medicine. So it was pretty eye-opening to see all these different things that I never considered. I think that this preceptorship program and a lot of other programs are really helpful for high school students because they get to explore different areas, and they also get to kind of have a feel and saying, is this really what I want to do? At the end of this program, I no longer feel like I'm in a place like this, where there are too many roads for me to take and I don't know what to do, because I feel like I do know what to do now. Nursing is interesting for me, and I've decided to take that path. Another reason why I know it's the right path for me is because there are so many different options within it. I can be an ER nurse, an OR nurse, a nurse anesthetist, a nurse practitioner, a nurse manager working in administration. I can have a teaching job within nursing. So I really like that as I go down this path, I still have room to change, grow, and move around. And that's the same in a lot of different career paths. There's not always one set way that you have to follow. There's a lot of different offshooting paths you can take as well. And I want to end by talking about this quote that I found online that I think perfectly summarizes my message. There is not one path. There is not even the right path. There is only your path. So as I already mentioned, there are so many different career paths out there. But what truly matters is that you find what interests you and what you enjoy. And only you know what that is. I got to talk to a lot of different people in my program, and it was great to hear about how much they love their job. I hope to find that love with nursing, and I hope that you will find that love with whatever you pursue. I was talking to a tech in nuclear medicine, and he said something that really stuck with me that I want to share. He said, "We spend the majority of our life working, so why not have an opportunity like this? An opportunity to explore what you might be interested in, because you can end up doing that every day for the rest of your life. And nobody wants to spend the rest of their life wishing that they had chosen another path." Thank you.